everybody. Welcome to the Art of Relationship Show, live Q&A. We're going to be talking about the realities of love, about relationships, and anything related to those things we're going to be talking about. I got a super special guest, Sizzle, who does his Fearless Love Support Group podcast. You can check it out on AMP Radio, which is the AMP app that you can do. It's affiliated with Amazon. And I'm going to bring him on in a bit. And Sizzle is a smooth cat. He's awesome. We met, probably a few years ago now. And he knows a lot about love, knows a lot about, unfortunately, about heartbreak. So I'm going to bring him on. We're going to get into it. And make sure you join in. Throw your questions down below, people. I don't have the call-in set up today, but throw out your questions, your answers, and we'll get ready for a exciting show. So everybody say hello to Sizzle, and I'm going to let him give himself some props and where you can find him in his platforms with the Fearless Lover Support Group. And when he told me this a while ago, God, I love that name. Where'd you come up with that, Sizzle, before we get into this stuff?
Actually, it's born of a joke.
A joke?
Yes, I before I did the Fearless Lover Support Group, I would do a midday show that I called Lyrical Love Letters, right? And I would just tell stories of my past relationships, but I would support them with music.
Oh,
So like
sweet.
I would tell you, I would talk about, there was a time I saw this girl across the room and it was just like distinctively remembering what she was wearing, how that color like matched with her skin. And she wore these blue high heels. And then I would play Blue High Heels by Ray J.
Ray J, yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say. Hilarious. Now, what I gotta, were you ever viewed as a stalker? And I tell I tell people the difference between Country King Jordan. I appreciate you tuning in on TikTok. Like I said, you can throw out your questions to Sizzle or myself. Throughout the show, man. So I tell people, going back to the blue high heels and stuff. The difference between a stalker and a romantic interest. Let's be real. If they're hot or not, right?
Well, I think in some regards that is. I think intention is everything, right? Like, I'm only able to tell that story because there was something to say after that.
No, oh, I gotta hear this.
You see what I'm saying? No, because I actually spoke to that woman. You know
Oh,
what I'm saying?
nice.
Like, so that story continued after that, right? I couldn't have a lyrical love letter if there wasn't an exchange of information and energy between she and I. There would have never been that,
Absolutely. I
right? Like,
agree.
so I think
So,
the exchange and the intention is the difference between the romantic and the stalker.
no, right? Now, in your eye, when you said the Fearless Lover Support Group, and I still, man, I love that name. I'm a little jealous, for real, in a good way. No, I love that name. I think it's great because how many people, yourself, I mean, I could be included in that group as well, even, doing this and helping couples for a long time. And, how many people, they end up in one, maybe breakup or an unhealthy relationship, and you keep trying. And I love the energy, sis. I just love your attitude, and you have so much knowledge about the stages, or the theories of love, if you will, the types of love out there. And I'm like, man, this cat done his homework, and it's impressive. What do you tell people as far as to keep, have repeated heartbreaks, man, to keep going after it, to keep going after that love life you're looking for? What do you tell them?
So I'm an athlete, in a past life. So I try
Oh
to
yeah,
talk
yeah,
in those
yeah.
terms. But I just said when it comes to love, I have a shooter's mentality, right? Um, I'm not afraid to miss because in every miss, like I'm making adjustments. I'm conditioning myself to take a better shot next time, right? I was once told that failure is the sugar that made success sweet. So I'm not afraid of heartbreak, because when I have somebody who actually takes care of my heart and actually holds it and doesn't drop it, right, it's going to
Right.
feel much better than having that out the gate, right? If I have that, if it's just one shot, like, you don't learn to appreciate that. Like, if you bet heads and it lands heads every time, you're not really winning. You don't know what that feels like until you say heads and you get tails.
Right.
So
So how
just
many
keep
people,
doing it.
what do you tell people? And one thing I did a little short video, whatever platforms, and I talk about someone said, am I a professor? I used to teach college classes. I don't anymore. I did that for a long time. And I don't know if that was for me or for Sizzle. So let us, Kayla, yeah, clue us in if that was for me or Sizzle. So um with the broken heart, now I did going back to, I tell people a healthy, happy relationship, love life, it's a skill, right? What is, in your experience and what you promote on your podcasts and show and stuff, so what valuable skills have you found out that have helped you and maybe your peeps, your listeners, in their pursuit of love and happiness?
So for me, it's like conditioning in all love languages,
Yeah.
right? Because everybody has a different. I tell people words of affirmation is my most fluent love language, and
Yep.
music is my chosen dialect, right? Like, that's how I say that. But some people are, gift giving, right? Like, that's your language, right? There's the
Right.
language you speak, and then there's the language you receive, and there's also a language that you reject. Like, understanding what those are is like so valuable, like, and living in that truth, right?
It's huge, and I love that. And I tell people all the time that you can do 50 things to show your person you love them, and if they don't work, man, it gets frustrating. And they're like, I don't feel it. You're not showing me you love me. You're not showing me you care. You have to go after what works. And I talk, I mentioned this on my show a lot, a ton of times. Posts. You have to go after what works. And
Hmm.
if you are, say, your love language is affection. You love affection, you love touch, a little kiss, and your partner
Yeah.
doesn't do it and they're not willing to do it. I tell people it's going to make it very difficult because a lot of people, and I throw women under the bus a little bit on this because it's mostly women have this potential theme for their man, right? In heterosexual relationships, they look at, oh, this man has potential to be all this, all I want. But you have to ask that person, do you want that? Do they want the same thing as you? And can they even have that potential? I tell people, I joke around, I'd love to be at least 5'8". Do I have the potential? No. So, I don't care how much you keep wishing it on me and thinking I have that potential. I don't have it, right? Or to grow my hair back. It ain't going to happen. So when it comes to love and broken heart, and I love you keep learning and growing and, learning, like you said, about your partner's love language and what works for them. Have you run into, maybe yourself, maybe I did when I was younger too, you keep trying to ram down what you think works down that person's throat, and they get annoyed and you're frustrated and they ghost you, and you're like, oh, what happened? I was doing everything right. And have you run into that, Sizzle?
I mean, I think every time I recall a past relationship, I did everything right.
We all did, right?
Right. We all did. When you retell the story, you're always the hero. Um, but I would say, like, I've definitely seen that, right? Especially before I knew
Oh yeah.
how to, like, speak these different languages, like how to, like, convey these languages to my partner, right?
Right.
Um, like, words of affirmation was not one I didn't even know what it was. I just knew I wasn't getting it from someone. I'm like, yo, like, you see what I'm saying? I realized, like, there's something
Absolutely.
missing from this. I can't tell you what it is. Like, so, but it's not working. And that's like the worst. Like, I feel like I've had a couple amazing relationships that ended because I didn't have the capacity or the knowledge to communicate what was missing.
You didn't have, and I know, a term. It's like I don't have the words to put it. I hear it from couples, every day in my office that, Greg, I'm feeling this way. I don't have words for it. So I try to help them find that word. And it's one of those things. You can be wrong. Hey, are you looking for, you want more respect? No, 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 that's not it. And that's okay. You need to be, but it's a learning process. And
Mm-hmm.
once you find that like you said, affirmations, and a lot of people look at, the difference. I need not really compliments, Greg, but I need something else. And I'm saying, is it affirmations? And you try to express that to them. And, is there really a difference between affirmations and compliments? Or are they intertwined in your eyes? Do you like both? Are they
Uh,
intertwined for you, Sizzle?
I think they're separate, right? Because sometimes people compliment you on things that you don't realize,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in that moment, they're not affirming anything, right? Like if I didn't know it was there, you can't affirm it for me,
Right.
right? But like it's when I put forth effort into something, and I'm like, yeah. Prime example, I made dinner for my girlfriend last night, right?
Oh, whoa, whoa, hold on. Back up a bit. Did you say girlfriend?
Yeah, it's a new thing.
Is she listening?
She's not. She's at work right now. I don't
Oh,
know that she is listening.
so we can talk smack. You're all
Yeah,
right. No, no, you're fine.
yeah, I'm at this point now where I'm like, I'm also old enough to just be like, hey, look, like it's like this is what's happening. You're getting this guy. If you don't like him at any point, just let me know. You know what I'm saying? Because I really just got good at being myself, and I'm enjoying it. I don't want to change. You know what I'm saying? Like I found me, and I'm loving it.
I love it. And to be comfortable and confident enough in your own skin to be like that. And so many people, do you still run into that? And I know everyone says, age equals maturity, but it doesn't. Age equals confidence. There's no way. It doesn't correlate that way. We wish it would, but we learn and grow. And it's about, when did you start not trying to be what someone else wants you to be? You get me? And I don't know, there's men that do it, and there's a lot of women that they try to be someone they're not, and it just doesn't work. And they get frustrated. I'm being this, I'm being that. And I think it's because you're being fake, you're being fraudulent. Your intentions are great, but it's just not you, and you're not comfortable in your own skin. And I think that vibe comes out, and that's what, the reality of love, the reality of that relationship just sort of reaches its demise.
Well, I think that's also how you end up in like amazing relationships that feel empty out of nowhere
Thank you.
because you got in there and that love felt great as long as you were in character. But in the moment you took the mask off, everything felt empty. You're like, whoa, like this is not, like you look different. You smell different. Hell, you even taste different right now because I have on a different mask. I didn't real you don't realize it, right?
I
You do all this
love,
work to get into that relationship, and then it gets closer and closer to home. And typically, when you get home, you get comfortable. You take your mask off when you go
right?
home from work, or when you like leave the outside world. And then when they see you with that mask off, like you're like, oh, I like the person who was out there a lot more than I like the person who's in here. And I
A-
think that's where some of that emptiness comes from.
And I love that. How many people you've run into in your life, even dating, everyone dating, or, prior marriage. Oh, your wife, girlfriend, whatever. Oh my God, they're a great person. You're like, where's this person at? Right? You're like, huh?
Hmm.
What? And I tell people, you don't know unless you're living, 24/7 with that person. You don't know what happens behind closed doors. We could look at,
Hmm.
are people being politicians, right? Are they being fake? Are they being um fraudulent in how they are and what their real essence is? And I love that. And I love now, what is your take on the difference between you being you and behaviors you can change and evolve?
Oh, as long as you communicate, like, hey, like this is a part of me I am working on.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to like do that right in front of your partner, right? Like, obviously, don't. I say the only punch that hurts is the one you don't see coming. So don't just go like throwing changes at people that you didn't prepare them for.
Right.
So I go through some things. I say, hey, look, at one point my spiritual journey was like far different from that of my partner. I was like, I'm looking for something different spiritually. I'm looking for answers somewhere else, right? Like I'm always going to make room to have conversations with you in this realm of spirituality. Like
Right.
I'm interested in your journey because it's alongside mine, right? But it's okay for you to look left while I look right.
Absolutely. And that's different. That's where you look at and the realities of love and everything. They look like you have to mesh, you have to integrate everything. You don't. And I think you, like you said, the facade and the mask, when you lose that identity, man, your soul identity, things they get miserable for you as an individual. And then it just, let's face it, it not only trickles down, it's like a tidal wave in that relationship or marriage, and it's not going to last. And to give uh, props, I should say, for I'm Greg Dudzinski, fully licensed professional counselor, and relationship, marriage, sex counselor for over 2 decades. I'm live with Sizzle, the host of Fearless Lovers Support Group podcast, and we're talking about love, the realities of love. And someone commented, are you counseling someone live? No, I am not. Actually, Sizzle is another host on Fearless Lover Support Group podcast. So you check him out. Hey, Sizzle, tell people where they can find you first before we get into this stuff, man. No, I'm not I can't counsel someone live without their written consent, actually. So against HIPAA regulations. So.
And honestly, if I ever get training in the public eye, it's going to be a train wreck. So we're going to make sure we monetize that thing because people are going to want to see that. Like, oh my gosh, yo, like this dude is literally ignorance on fire. No, but I go by Sipping with Sizzle online. It's my Instagram handle. It's my Twitter handle. You can even find me on Facebook as that. But I do something called the Fearless Lover Support Group on AMP, which is an Amazon radio platform available on iPhone and Android now. We meet Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. And it was just born of the need to reach more people like me. I always say, like, this show is for the simps, it's for the saps, it's for the hopeless romantics, it's for those down to fall in and out of love repeatedly, regardless of the consequence. Like, this is your show. And I am not a licensed relationship counselor or sex therapist. I'm just your chubby drinking buddy who's a serial lover boy. Like that's really what it is. And I was looking for more people like me to have conversation with and create a safe space for us to do it in. Because especially as Black men, it's not normal to emote in public.
Love
right?
It. Yes.
It's not even really normal to emote in private without the feeling or the fear of discord or judgment. So I wanted to try to create a space for that. And a few of my friends tap in and they'll say some things like, I have a guy I've been drinking beer with online for probably 5 years, right?
Right.
And it wasn't until we did the Fearless Lover Support Group that I'd ever heard him talk about a relationship he was in.
Really? And you've known that cat for 5 years?
Exactly.
And I love it, Sizzle. And Sizzle, even though he's not, he says he's not licensed. This gentleman right here is very wise. He's got a lot of insight that can help a lot of people as well, and be there for people. He's real, man. That's why he's on here too. And we talk about about the Black men, and I love it because most of my couples I see, actually individuals too, are people of color. They're Black. And I probably 80 to 85% of I call them my peeps, are people of color. They're Black, and I love it. And I tell people, speaking of love, relationships, their challenges, their broken hearts, I tell, I can't remember if I mentioned this to you before when we were talking, Sizzle, but I say the white guys are like 10 years behind the Black guys, for real. I see the last probably 7, 8 years, more Black men like Sizzle himself, they're opening up about their broken hearts, their heartaches, their struggles, not only with relationships and love, and not only that, it could be child custody. It could be, work, life, losing a loved one, losing her brother. So I love the black guys are opening up with each other more. And I don't know if Sizzle can attest to that. I'm a white dude, but I hear this from, I hear it on a daily basis and I love it. And that's why I say in reality, the white guys are, um, they're, they're a long way away. They're years behind. What is your take? And Mark is saying shake your dreads. I don't know if that's for me or for you. Says
So I took my hair out, so it's
oh,
just
he did no
yeah,
dread.
I took my hair out. They are not in there right now. Brother Bucket hat is on. This is I love my hair journey, healthy hair. I'm big on that now as well. But every now and then I got to take that stuff out. I wouldn't say I'm a dready yet. All my friends who are, they keep telling me to join them as though it's like some secret society.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, hilarious, right? They're
I,
around Detroit. Yeah, they're out there all over the place for real. And Lisa, I appreciate that. Love this conversation. Break barriers, talk, and I love it. And that's why Sizzle is so real, man. I love it. So
I mean, I tell you, like I love love, right?
oh yeah, hell yeah.
Jasmine Sullivan has a song, "Lions and Tigers and Bears," right?
Yep.
I mean, I love that song, right? I think she's toxic, but I love that song.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But like the question of the song is like, why do we love love when love seems to hate us,
Yes.
right? And I like ponder that all the time. I was like, well, love doesn't hate us. It's like, it's our response to like what we receive from giving the love that we have, right? Like that's
Yes.
when it doesn't come back the way you want it. It registers as like your love hates us. Like
Absolutely.
love don't live here no more. That's where songs like that come from, right?
Right.
But
And what
keep
about
doing it.
we could get philosophical, we get into, and I know a little different format about what does, and I ask people what's love to you, and I tell it's a feeling, it could be actions, it could be words, it could be like Sizzle was talking about earlier, his love language, he loves affirmations, maybe compliments, and looking for those elements and what works. And one of the saying, you see it all over social media, and I'm sure you have too, Sizzle, about love doesn't hurt people, people hurt people, right? And
Mhm.
it's like, what is love for you? And if it's different, and you could have everything meet your needs, and you can have, I always joke around, right? Men have 10 things on their checklist they're looking for in a woman, and women have 50 things they're looking for in a partner. And to be able to look at, and I tell people, you can have everything you're looking for in that checklist, but I don't feel love for that person. I don't feel that in love feeling, that chemistry. And so that's why I said you logically it could be all this, but it's a feeling. It's a vibe. I can tell and teach couples what do you do to keep it. Absolutely. But
That part. That
that's what the
part.
hardest trick is, especially when you lose it. And most of the couples I work with, one cheated, both cheated. And to be able to look at trying to reignite that love and to try to kick that up again. And, that in love feeling ebbs and flows. But what is there that the foundation, that real love is there? And it's different for everybody. And I know, Sizzle, what do you run into on your show when people are, talking with you about when they try to express what love is to them, and what do they do to try to keep it?
Well, I always, when I get in this vein of conversation, um, I have a go-to song.
Oh, which one? And I loved, man, when you had your playlist for me, man, it was freaking phenomenal. So,
um, so Raphael Sadiq says, "Falling in love can be easy, but staying in love is too tricky." Right?
yeah,
It's definitely work. Right? I tell people all the time, like they're like, "Oh, you fall in love all the time." I was like, "Yeah, and so do you." I was like, the difference is like how much time do you invest in working on that love? Like every time you fall in love, it's like a fixer upper. The house is like a fixer upper, right? Like you've got to turn that love into what works for you and that other person. Like when you move into that space, it's
Yes.
like, so love is great. I'm all for it. You can
Oh
fall in
yeah.
love
Hell yeah.
over and over and over
Absolutely.
again, right? Like you should, because you only get better at things by practicing. Um, so don't be afraid to fall in love, but get excited about doing the work that it takes, right? Like finding the points where you're furthest away from your partner and trying to shorten the gap in those spaces,
I
right?
love
If she's
that.
a little bit country and I'm just super R&B, I'm like, hey, let's listen to Mickey Guyton. You know what I'm saying? Let's listen to Breland. Like I'm gonna find somewhere in the middle that we can come to. I'm gonna respect the fact that you're way over there and give you time to be in that space,
Right.
right? And give me mine as well. But know that there's a space somewhere between us where we can both come together.
And so I love that. And that's where it's, talk about the Venn diagram, the interlocking circles, and the center part is a relationship or marriage and your own individuality. And it's so huge, and that brings more oxygen. And I agree. How do you integrate and how do you create that space instead of fighting over each other? And I know, Tara, I appreciate that. Yeah. So true, Greg. The checklist isn't everything, but it's looking at, you know, how do you accommodate, and it's easy when things are going smooth, when everybody is feeling the love and the vibe, and it is, oops, there we go. There, I thought I lost Sizzle for a bit. But when you're feeling the vibe and everything's great, you're feeling in love, that honey, everything's great. And I tell people the trick is, like Sizzle was just talking about, when you have that gap, you have that distance. How do you bridge that? How do you come back together and realize? And I think a lot of it has to do with, I think, confidence. A lot of it has to do with the courage enough to own your shit, to own, you know, even if you feel you did nothing wrong, are you willing to look at it and say, hey, what did I do to create this distance? What did I do to upset you, to make you feel maybe disrespected, not loved? But a lot of people, man, it's like, you done this, you done this, you done this, instead of looking at, man, what am I doing? And I love that, Sizzle, when you said about, the work, and the work's gotta, it's got to be the work that actually works. Is that a double negative? I don't. The work that actually works. It's
Well,
the
they
things.
say the work actually works if you work it right.
Right there, you go. Right. It's the effort. It's the effort. Is the effort is what is needed to heal that gap, to bridge that gap, to come together. And no, I love it, man. I love it. And with your knowledge of love and self exploration, what do you find that most people are learning about themselves? And this is so subjective, man.
It is. I think one of the biggest things is people are finding out that they're worthy of love, regardless of what they've heard, said, or encountered in the past. Right? Because a lot of times when people grow up, and I think common sense doesn't exist anymore because no one lives the same life. But
No.
people kind of go through things, and they're like, hey, I had to learn who I am coming out of this, right? And realize that the person I actually am is not who they cast me as in those scenarios. Because yes, the person they cast you as may not have been worthy or deserving of their love or had access to their love, but it doesn't mean you're not. I think more and more people are realizing that love changes from person to person, and
Absolutely, Sizzle.
this is really just a quest to find the person who has the right kind of love for you. It's really like a buffet. Like you're just trying everything to see what you really want to put on your plate.
You know what? I love that. But you got to look at not only what's on that plate for that meal, but what's on that plate for many meals down the road. And what do you do to integrate and, sort of jive, and you work together, man. It's
Mhm.
still, I still see a lot of people have a hard time looking at each other's perspective, outside of the right and wrong, that it's just different, that, hey, why are you thinking this, why are you feeling this, instead of that judgment, that tit for tat, that I don't know if it's the incessant need to be right, be heard so much that we forget to listen.
Well, I always say, like, for me personally, reconciliation feels way better than resolution, right?
Okay. Now, I love that, but I'm going to be real, Sizzle. This might be where I might have my first maybe disagreement with you. No,
Hmm.
I'm playing. But okay, I get that. But what if that resolution never happens and it's a rinse and repeat? Now what?
I don't have a problem with that because it's work, right? Like
Yes,
it's work. That's where the room for opportunity lies, right?
I
Like
love it. Yes,
if I get it right, so we in the service industry especially, like if you get it right out the gate, right? No one ever says anything,
correct.
right? There's no applause, there's no nothing,
There
right?
should
There's
be,
no good
but
job.
I get you. Right,
But the
right.
moment you mess up and you recover well, they'll tell the world about you. They light up. They have the biggest smile. So yeah, I'm down to recreate that moment every time possible over and over in my relationship because words of affirmation is my thing.
Oh, absolutely.
So I need that. Like if we resolve this thing right away and there's nothing else to work on, I'm like, well, what am I doing? Like I can't just be doing nothing, right? Like
Right.
I get it. Let's take a break and be closer together in this moment than we were before. But like, how do we get even closer than this now? I'm looking for that.
I would love that. Now, do you think, because one thing's resolved, there's always going to be something popping up, right? And I
Hmm.
think it's a huge myth that a lot of people look at. Oh, we only have this problem. Once it's solved, there's not going to be any other issues. And let's be real, right? There's people have health issues. Unfortunately, cancer, COVID, heart disease, whatever. They lost a loved one. They um maybe in a relationship, past relationship, they have kids or teens now, and you're in a step family or, step family situation, and the kid is sick. Life happens. People lose their job. So, how that all affects us and how you're there for each other is huge. And it's not only, you know, learning what is needed by your partner, but it's also for us individually to learn what we need because we might not even know if we've never experienced anything before or, life obstacle we never experienced. How the hell do we know what is needed? So that's where we have to work. And I love Sizzle saying, the constant work is there. Not that we have to work 24/7, but can we grow? Can we acknowledge that and to be deeper, more connected, more ourselves within the construct of a happy, healthy relationship or marriage? The Thimble, I appreciate you joining on. Mason, I appreciate you too. There's a bunch of people on TikTok popping up. So, oh, you're laughing. Uh oh, hit me up.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, like, I should probably get on TikTok because, like, I don't TikTok. Like.
It might be. Yeah, I know. I keep it's for the younger generation, right? But I have my as people know, I have my phone on TikTok live, and I'm streaming on YouTube, Facebook, I think Instagram too through StreamYard I use. And it works well. I was telling Sizzle before, I'd love to be able to do everything all at once. So through one device, would be great. But um, trying to think. Oh, but love is, you got to look at the concept of what is love to you. And a lot of people have a hard time, I think, even understanding or even knowing, hey, what is love to you? Greg, I want to be loved. Great, terrific. Who doesn't, right? And I ask, what does that look like for you? And I think a lot of people will look at that. They don't even know. I don't think they've ever been asked that before. And it's trying to look at even what love looks like, and I'm a realist. Like I titled this episode as far as the realities of love, right? And we're not talking no honeymoon, no Cinderella story type thing, talking about a reality base, what love is. And it's even through the hard times, the difficult times, like Sizzle, you were mentioning about that gap and how do you reach for each other instead of keep running away from each other. And I think that's crucial, big time.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, like where you're seeking comfort, you'll run to people who you agree with, you affirm with, but then you end up far away from people in other aspects of your life that you needed, right?
Absolutely.
Like, and no one is going to check all of your boxes.
No,
And I just think that you need to find the person who accepts and respects the fact that those boxes exist.
I love it. Sizzle, I love your wisdom. And I think you're right. No one's going to meet all of our needs, not at all. And I say 85% is phenomenal. It's great, but you don't want that 15% missing to be the essence of who you are, how you want to be loved. And it's not that you get your way all the time, but to have an idea of what's important to you, like we talked about, affirmations, compliments, or some people love acts of service, or they're bougie and love gifts. I'm not shouldn't say that, right?
So,
But everybody's different. But to know what makes you feel loved and to make you feel more connected, those are crucial. And Sizzle, I want to piggyback on what you mentioned about trying to fit somebody in that box. And it's allowing yourself to be yourself, and I'm not going to say we can't compromise everything. A lot of people, even in this field, they want you to compromise. We compromise a lot, but we don't want to compromise the essence of who we are. Like, one wants monogamy and the other one, their essence is to have an open relationship. So, hey, Brittany, what's going on? So it is, that's where I look at, nothing's perfect. We're not going to have everybody meet our needs, but we want we want a good mix. And again, the essence of what's important to us. And is that person, are you both willing to try to integrate and evolve together?
oh, I agree with that. I love that you touched on like the different dynamics between like ethically non-monogamous individuals and monogamous individuals in a
Oh,
relationship.
yeah. Yeah.
Right. I've been told that this is probably my toxic trait. But I've
Preach it. Preach it, bro.
always said that my monogamy should be earned. Right. I'm not saying I live ethically non-monogamous because my monogamy should be earned. If you're getting all of me physically, mentally, spiritually, right?
What about financially? I'm playing.
I, I get that one too, right? But
I'm playing that. Yeah.
I just don't have enough money to even offer that to people. That's why we don't have to cross that bridge. That's for later. Uh, but I definitely am one to quickly just say like become more of what I'm looking for to put more demand on me, right?
I love it.
If I want to go figure skating, and you're like, hell no, I don't want to go. But I have friends who want to go figure skating with
Yeah.
me, and they want to do the hand holds and the hot cocoa, and hey, they should reap all the benefits of that moment. Like, I shouldn't give them that time and that energy and that exchange, and then take the reward of that moment away and bring it to you if
I
you
love
didn't
it.
put in on it.
I love it. How many people look at that, right, in a selfish way? Hey, I'm not getting this. I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that. Now, hey, what are you doing to make sure your partner does not want to leave? What are you doing, guys, to make sure your partner still loves you, wants to be in love? And ladies, same thing. What are you doing to still earn that love from that person? I'm not talking, chained up in a basement against their will in a cage somewhere. No, but and a lot of people, I think it's not even intentional. I don't think, for a lot of us, Sizzle,
Hmm.
but I think it's just one of those things that we start taking for granted. We get lazy. We get unmotivated, if you will, but we need to be more intentional, um, making sure that doesn't happen. And I have that, even tattooed on my arm, love intentionally. And I have it, what I have, be intentional with your love. I have it, I made it up, different like flyers, whatever, in my office. You can't see them now, but I'm so huge on that. What are you doing to be intentional with your love? And it's not just me, 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 me. It's also, what are you providing? Yeah, we're all in a relationship or marriage because we're getting something out of it. Let's be real. But
Mm-hmm.
you want to make sure what is that person getting from you that's important to them too.
Definitely. Right. I mean, it's transactional. I know we don't want to say that. You don't want to qualify it that way, but
It's
it's
real, man.
transactional. Oh no, we're taking a
Oh,
few steps here.
no.
There we
And
go.
I'm going to, yeah. And Sizzle, I'm going to let,
Shining.
no, oh, that's cool. No, I appreciate it. At least my bald head out there, man, be bouncing the rays right off of it. So, um, tell people where they can find you, and then we'll find you again. And then definitely, I'd love to have you on the show again. And we will definitely talk, and we'll let the listeners go.
Oh, awesome. Well, social media handles are Sippin' with Sizzle. That's SIPPINWITSIZZLE. If you download the AMP app, you can find me Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. on the Breakfast Beer Radio Show. Tuesday nights, hosting the Fearless Lover Support Group at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I mean, those are the most frequent places to find me, but I'm very easy to reach. I don't filter my DMs, so if I say or do something that inspires you, intrigues you, or just pisses you off, like feel free to shoot me a message. Like I'm here for all of it.
I love it, Sizzle. And I appreciate your time very much. So I know you're a busy gentleman. So I appreciate your time. And I'll post that to Sipping with Sizzle. I'll make sure I post that all over my social media platforms as well. Okay. So peace, man. I appreciate it. And we'll talk soon, man.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, man. Peace. Hey, and I appreciate Sizzle and everything. Like I said, this is the Art of Relationships show. I'm actually going to be taking the show live. And like I said, the format, it's a Q&A format. I want you to be able to throw out your questions down below, people. And I appreciate Sizzle tuning in, and everybody, Tara, Lisa, Brittany, I appreciate everybody tuning in. And I will be announcing, I don't know if I'm going to be starting next week or not, if I'm going to a Wednesday evening, like a 8 p.m. Eastern time type of thing, time slot. And I love feedback. What are your thoughts are? I'm here for you. My passion is trying to help couples, help people heal broken hearts, have the relationship that they've craved, right? In a realistic essence type of way. Nothing's perfect, but I don't want people to be miserable. I don't want people to live with broken hearts and be in toxic relationships. Not at all. Okay. And you can find me all over the place as well as social media at Love Guru Greg. Like I said, I've been doing this fully licensed for, oh boy, over 21 years now. And you check out my website, theartofrelationships.org. And I do have a few courses up there, self-help courses that help people as well. And reach out, DM me anytime. And I appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, peace and love to everybody out there. And I appreciate you spending your time listening and trying to gain insights. Very, very flattered, very humble by that, because I know your time is very, very, very valuable to you. So I appreciate that, and I never take it for granted. So peace and love. Take care, everybody.